listening now. Today, we're going to be talking about trend lines. That's the next topic that I've actually got on the list. Just going to be going through the charts and of course just showing you guys what a trend line is and how people use it. I see different hairstyle, but man hasn't trimmed. So let's just instantly get onto the charts. Are we good? We good? Yeah, we're blessed. Alright, so we're on the charts now, and I'm just going to be explaining to you guys what is a trend line. So first of all, a trend line is a tool that traders use to mark out lower highs, higher lows, pretty much just to mark out the trend of the actual pair. So let me just go on a random pair, GBP USD. Okay, so I'm on the 4-hour time frame and I can see there's a high up here and we've got in a low low, low high, low low, low high, low low, low high. So what a trader would do is they will grab their trend line tool and just mark these up. These, because it's a higher time frame, you want to mark up the overall. You know, I'm not going to draw a trend line here because I can see that this third touch didn't sustain. So that's actually something that I can actually go through with you guys right now. So the rule is on the trend line is that you trade the third touch. So you always wait for the third touch. So this is touch number 1, this is touch number 2, and then on this third touch, that's when you would look for a trade if you're using the trend line tool to trade. That's the rule. So you need 3 touches. Now, as you guys can see, on this third touch, we broke the trend line, meaning that this trend line is no longer in play. But if we continue with the actual market and the overall structure, we can see low low, low high, low low, and then this lower high is still in play, and this high here didn't break this lower high, so it's still a lower high. So that means the trend, the downtrend, is still intact. So when drawing the trend line as the overall tool, I'm going to use the second lower high rather than the first lower high. So using this second lower high, and as you guys can see, this third touch did sustain, and then we move down. So the trend line tool is just used as an ongoing support and resistance, pretty much. I can't really say dynamic support and resistance because that's more like a moving average, but trend line is like you're just marking the lower high points in the downtrend and then marking the higher low points in an uptrend. If I can go and try and find an uptrend example. Okay, so right here I can see an uptrend example. So we've just come out of a downtrend and we've put in this low right here, and then instantly we've put in a higher low and we've moved higher with higher highs and higher lows. So if I mark from this point to this point, we can see that trend line tool in play. Higher high, we gap all the way down, which was the end of a week, and then the start of a new week, we gap to the trend line, point in the trend line, and then this third touch was the actual trade, which you guys can see. And we sustain that trend line. So we actually continue to use that trend line as support. High low, high high, high low. So it's still respecting the trend line. So when it respects the trend line, it also means that it's respecting the direction of the trend. So if you are a trend trader, that you like to trade with the trend, you are not going to be looking for selling opportunities right here. You're mainly going to be focused on looking at buying opportunities, you know, and trading with the trend itself, potentially even getting in at these touches of the trend line as an ongoing support. So in an uptrend, the trend line is used as support, and then in a downtrend, it's used as resistance. Trying to think of what else I can speak about with trend line. It's pretty straightforward, you know. Nothing really much to it, you know. So we can look over here as well. We see low, lower high. Well, let me do it properly. Lower high, higher low, higher high, lower low. So this is the reset. As you guys can see, we tried to go higher, but then just completely broke it. And then higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So this looks like it's respecting it. So I'm going to draw the trend line over here. No, maybe use this point and this point. Higher high, consolidate. We come down to touch the trend line on Tuesday, and then blast off Tuesday, Wednesday, closing out Thursday, Friday, consolidating, touching again on the Tuesday, Wednesday to push it out again higher on Wednesday and Thursday. So when you look at the trend line in itself, you can't really draw a trend line without the second point anyway. So that's why the rule is on that third point, you're looking for a trade opportunity. That's the rule, you know, because if this second point wasn't here, where am I going to draw my trend line? I can draw it here, which is wrong, can draw it here, which is wrong. So it's like you always have to wait for that second higher low to form a structure, and then higher high, and then the next higher low to continue. So yeah, there's pretty much not much to cover on trend lines. I mean, it's pretty basic. I've gone through all the points. I think I've hit all the talking points. Like I said before, in an uptrend, so when price is moving higher, the trend line is cast as support, and then in the downtrend, when price is moving lower, it is classed as resistance. So price keeps on moving lower, hits the trend line, classes it as resistance, moves lower, hits the trend line again as resistance. So instead of like when we was covering the support and resistance topic, instead of having actual areas where price comes to, we have the trend line tool, which is the structure of price and the nature of price, and they actually respecting that. So let's just say, I'm gonna backtest here. So let's just say we was here in time, for an example. So we are currently there in time. Now, if I look at this trend line, I can see, okay, if I'm going to wait for this third touch, where is the price level? if I'm going to wait for this next lower high, where is the price level? Like approximately, I can see 35,500 as a clear price level. So now, when I put this and wait for this, we're currently on a Tuesday, no, we're on a Wednesday actually. So let's see when price will hit this. Okay, so we hit it on it's still Wednesday. Yep, we hit it at the end of Wednesday. So now let me go on a smaller time frame for you guys. So if we hit it at the end of Wednesday now, what are we looking for? Now we're coming into Thursday. Again, let me put my sessions on for you guys to see it more clearly. So we're coming into Thursday now. So that's that price level, and then this is the trend line, guys. So we've passed Asian session, and then this is 7 o'clock start in New York session, start of London session. Push down, put in a lower low. Going now to New York session, and then New York session at 3, boom, huge move down, as you guys can see. So that's moving off of that price level, that's moving off of yesterday's high, that's also moving off of the trend line level. So that's just a brief example just to show you guys like how you start incorporating everything, you know. So yeah, you guys can see how the trend line is able to be in play. Let me get off the bar replay tool. So yeah, this is a video of me just covering trend lines. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I do need to get trim. Like, this is all mad, like man needs to trim properly. But yeah, hope you got value from the video, and catch you in the next one.